Blasted through the 8th dimension in 1938 over in Grover's Mill.
Where there was a huge electrical dimensional accident, some giant explosion, and they hypnotized Orson Welles into covering it up. So first he says there's an invasion from Mars, but then he says, no, it's just a radio show hoax. Get it?
No, let's go. Orson Welles. What about Yo-Yo dying? What about Dr. Lizardo?
Well, that's what we're trying to tell you.
There's someone living inside him.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, after 150 episodes, you changed it up. This is episode 218, and tonight we're talking about Buckaroo Banzai. I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew, it's Big Bootay Jimison.
Hey.
Bootay. And Sam, why is Jeff Goldblum dressed like a cowboy? Vector.
That's a great question. Not only is he dressed as a cowboy, he's dressed as a comic book cowboy.
Yeah, like
for sure.
Like what the 1960s thought cowboys looked like.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And by the way, Sean, if there was a way to kill you, I would put a slug on a very slow ramp down to maybe where it would fall into your mouth, but it would probably just land somewhere around your chin and fall off the table.
It's so stupid. I didn't understand the point of that. Like, why did they have to electroshock the thing to make it move? And it's so dumb.
Yeah, right?
Oh my gosh. All right, so this is 1984's The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai and the Eighth Dimension, across the Eighth Dimension. Now, full disclosure, I said it last week, the only reason why I wanted to watch this movie is because Sam made me read the book the Ready Player One, which
Admit it, you liked it.
I freaking loved it. One of my probably my favorite book in the last 5 years I've read, seriously. And the movie comes out, and I watched it, and Sam did it, and if you want to know my thoughts on the movie, go listen to our Anchor cast episode 4.
Is it actually out there?
Oh yeah, we've got lots of listeners on that one. So if you go to iTunes, if you get us through iTunes, when you search for Cheapseat Reviews, the other one, the Anchor post will also, the Anchor podcast will pop up. And listen to our Sam and I's 5-minute review of Ready Player One. But the main character is Wade Watts is his name. This is his favorite movie, and so that actually intrigued me because of that. And I now watch it and think, why? Why is this his favorite movie? This movie
It's only because it's in the 80s.
This movie is awful. This is terrible. But so this movie is one. This movie is one of those movies that has, over the years, has gained kind of a cult following, for its, I guess, campiness and its silliness and whatever and
weirdness.
Yeah, and its randomness, and like there's things that just don't make sense, and there's a lot of, I mean, we haven't used this trope in a while, but our hopping man trope we haven't talked about in a while. There's like several, and they're not even just people. It's like plot points. They just disappear.
It's kind of like the watermelon in the press.
Right. Like, why is there a watermelon? I'll tell you later. And then there's no payoff. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where's the joke? There's no payoff for that joke. There's the like, why is there a 9-year-old with a machine gun? I mean, like,
For the kids, man.
and the dad is cool with it, and like, yeah, he can be armed, but I have to have permission to ride with you in your weird truck. There's just so much of this movie that it just doesn't make any sense.
It's so fantastic.
And so if you're also wondering what the heck Buckaroo Banzai is, Andrew is here to tell you what IMDb has to say that this movie is.
Adventurer, brain surgeon, rock musician. Buckaroo Banzai is a jack of all trades, and his crime-fighting team, the Hong Kong Cavaliers, must stop evil alien invaders from the 8th dimension, who are planning to conquer Earth.
Okay, there's several things
They're not really planning to conquer Earth, aren't they? I thought they were trying to get home.
They're trying to leave, so there's never really a conquering of Earth thing. Second of all, the brain surgeon part only comes up at the very beginning of the movie and is never used again. Like, he never, throughout the rest of the movie, doesn't use his brain surgeon knowledge to help him in any way.
Well, and I think that if they're just trying to prove a point that he's smart, there's other ways you can do that without having to waste a whole scene about brain surgery.
Oh, God, there was so much wasted scenes in this movie.
Now,
oh, dear Lord.
Now, correct me, and I don't think you have to, but bonsai, right, is a Japanese... It's a Japanese
tree.
word.
It's a tree, bonsai tree.
Bonsai tree, yeah, which is a Japanese tree, obviously, but like the concept of Buckaroo Banzai is a Japanese thing. Then why is his team called the Hong Kong Cavaliers? Like they could have been called the Tokyo Cavaliers, and it would have made more sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think in 1984 they just thought, well, Americans don't know what kind of Asians are, like what Asians are. They're just all yellow people, and they're not going to know the difference between a Vietnamese and a, you know what I'm saying? Like, I actually...
When did Karate Kid come out again?
Really true. I mean, back in the day.
86, right? 85, 86?
Okay.
84.
Was it the same year?
That's what I thought. I thought it was 84.
I mean, I know 84 is like the mecca of years for film. Like, there's 100 really good movies in this year. And then the next big one is 93 is the next kind of real big one, which is weird, but whatever. The Karate Kid is 1984, yeah. But he's Japanese. Well, he's from Okinawa, which is Japanese. So, but that would have been like if this movie, if in that movie, he would have, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's from Okinawa and he does a lot of Japanese customs, but someone calls him. But if someone in that movie would have called him Chinese, that was just to prove their ignorance or their racism. In this movie, it's like, I just don't think that they thought people would care. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, and I guess we're kind of going into what we felt like, but this movie kind of had a little bit of that Big Trouble in Little China feel to it. Which
would make sense because the director of this movie wrote that movie.
Then okay.
Yeah, he helped write that with John Carpenter.
Oh, okay. So, I guess that does make sense, but it's just, I don't know. I just get weird vibes from these types of movies. It was like a certain style of filmmaking at the time that was so popular in the 80s, and there is no way you can make a movie like this again.
No.
With this style, I don't think.
And see, like...
So that's the people that made Poultrygeist.
Well, yeah, but that was a farce on a farce on a farce. Like, that's, like, the Troma people, that's what they're designed to do.
But if you had never seen any other movies from the 80s and this movie was made today, would it not seem like a farce?
It would. But that's I think that's the problem is, like, I don't know if the movie always meant to be that.
I don't think it did.
And there's
in my opinion.
And there is evidence of it. Is that the director of photography, the guy who started the director of photography, is the guy I forgot it. He did some really great film, and the producers fired him because they didn't like the look that he was giving. Oh, now I have to find the trivia because I'm already getting into some of the trivia, but it's actually really worth looking at. But basically, the guy that they hired to do the cinematography, what am I trying to say? Basically, he made the movie look two-dimensional and flat and simple. The only scene that made the movie that the other guy directed was the bar, the nightclub scene. And knowing that after I watched it made me kind of go, I wonder why that scene looked better than everything else.
Yeah, because it really did.
So I'm trying to find where that thing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But my point is that I can't tell if the movie is supposed to be dumb or not.
You know what I'm saying? I honestly don't think it was meant to be, but it turned out that way.
Absolutely.
And this is and fair or unfair, one of my favorite 1980s sci-fi films of all time that isn't a Star Trek movie is The Last Starfighter. I love The Last Starfighter. And it is campy, but they weren't trying for camp. They were trying to make a genuine sci-fi movie, and you can tell that they tried, and they're really trying in that movie, and it works. I still think they're using at the time state of the art, like only Tron level CGI, right? And and the movie still, in my opinion, holds up. I wanted to stream so we can do it for the podcast. It's just not, but I'd love for it.
Tron?
No, not Tron. The Last Starfighter.
Oh yeah.
But,
which also came out in 1984.
Right, same year as this. And that movie, in my opinion, is leaps and bounds above this because the plot is simpler, I think.
And it has an intelligence to it. I kept thinking this was, I don't know, like from a comic book. The name just lends itself to, was this a comic book before it was a movie? And I thought maybe it was some weird kids comic book, I
think it is based on a novel, actually.
Yeah, and I just, it's so stupid. It just...
Okay, just to give us some perspective here, and go with me for a moment.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
These are the other movies that were made in 1984.
Oh, but there's a bunch of them, though. But yeah,
16 Candles, Karate Kid, Ghostbusters, The Terminator. I'm not going to name all these. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Neverending Story, Beverly Hills Cop, Amadeus, Footloose, Police Academy, This is Spinal Tap, Splash, Corny's favorite, Children of the Corn, The Last Starfighter, and I think Star Trek 3.
Yeah. I would have said it had you not.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some really good movies, and Ghostbusters is in there.
Yeah, you said that.
So there's some really good movies that...
really, really, like, defining of the decade type movies.
Right.
I mean, even Star Trek 3, which is one of the lesser of the Star Trek films,
Wait, I thought the odd ones are the good ones.
No, the even ones are the good ones.
Even ones, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine. Yeah. And that's unfair too. That's a Paramount production. That's Industrial Light and Magic. This is neither one of those. So I mean, I can't compare it to those two things. But
and none of these movies that I listed really can we compare. Really, I mean, I don't know the budget for this one, but
I'll tell you, because there's some fun trivia about the budget, and it only made $6 million.
That's a lot more than I expected, to be honest.
Like total. It only has gross in the USA. It doesn't. say no. I don't actually. It doesn't have what the budget was.
That's because everybody in Asia was offended by this one.
Well, and part of the reason why this is true. Part of the reason why on IMDb that there's no listing of the budget is because the production company that produced it went bankrupt because of this movie, and it took like lots of lawyers and money just to allow the DVD to be released.
Wow.
Because basically the company that owned the rights was like, no, we're not going to give it away. And they're like, we're trying to, we could make money on this thing. You know, like we can actually, the people that you guys still owe money can get paid, you know. So, 30 years, 20 years later. But, when we first started watching the movie, when I first started in the first credits, and I guess I've completely screwed up and we were 25 minutes on this show. I guess I should say, hey guys, what are your thoughts on this movie? But
I think people pretty much know where we stand.
I think we're all kind of. So when I saw Peter Weller's name pop up, I was like, oh, okay, we got RoboCop in this. That's cool. And then John Lithgow. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then that Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum's in this. Christopher Lloyd is in this. My gosh. And then I saw Clancy Brown. I thought, Clancy Brown is in this thing. This is great. So I love all of these guys, and I'm sitting here thinking, even Ellen Barkin, who is the female, and Andrew has gone on record saying that most women from the 80s, they're not really attractive. I think she kind of fits in the other category of actually kind of. Really? I was kind of attracted to her.
I was going to be nice and not say anything, but I didn't.
I was kind of attracted to her. And she's aged great. Like, she's a beautiful woman now. Do you know who she is?
Who is she?
She, did you see the Ocean's 13 movie? The one?
No. The one with all the ladies?
No, that was Ocean's 8.
Oh, I saw Ocean's 11.
Okay, so you just saw the first one?
Well, and the second one.
So you saw Ocean's 12?
Yep. I didn't know there was a third one.
Yeah, it came out like a decade ago.
She has aged fairly well.
Yeah. She's in a new show called Animal Kingdom or The Kingdom or something. It's on TNT. Yeah. But in the Ocean's 13 movie, Matt Damon has to seduce her. Yeah. So, yeah, I find her attractive. So anyway, Animal Kingdom, that's what she's.
Her eyes would bug me.
Why? What's wrong with her eyes?
I don't know. Just
I think she might have had a little work done.
Yeah.
Maybe. The Fan. She was in The Fan? Oh, I didn't know that. Gosh, she's in a bunch of movies. I just didn't know. Gracious. A lot of the stuff, though, I've actually never heard of. So actually, it's not that surprising. Anyway, so I saw, but like, go ahead, Andrew, please.
Yeah, I was just, as I was watching this movie, I thought to myself that it's a movie that can't make up its mind really what it is and what it's about. I thought there's so many ideas thrown into this, and you can tell even from what I read, from the IMDb. I mean, there's just so much that I felt like at times I was watching, especially at the opening. I thought, okay, this is going to be kind of like Star Wars. And then for a moment I thought, no, okay, this might be more like that. Oh crap, I can't even think what it is now. Well, we mentioned Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
And then
kind of kooky.
Yeah, and then there were some feels of, I mean, it happened in the music too. Like there were some things in the music that I noticed, and being a band director, I am drawn to, as you guys are musicians. I mean, you understand it too. I heard
beautiful
little
synth.
Yeah, and I heard little like snippets of what it sounded like the Charlie Brown theme, and then and then I heard little Star Wars references, and I don't know. To me, the movie just felt so unorganized. It felt like they had all these great ideas on paper, and then they threw them all together, and it didn't turn out so hot.
I agree with Andrew 100%.
There was even one moment where I looked at Peter Weller and I thought, God, he looks like Doctor Who. Like there was, in the way that he was dressed and.
Well, that, is this a James Bond film in parts as well?
Yeah.
They were trying to create a character that was larger than life, but I don't know if they were able to really succeed in doing so.
Well, and like even in the description on, it's not IMDb, but on in the movie Scroll, where it talks about how, and I actually want to read it because like, it was the dumbest opening scroll I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, it really was.
It made no sense. Like,
it reminds me of some of these Chinese, Japanese movies that sometimes you get that are dubbed over that have these silly concepts.
Yeah.
That's kind of the style or the feel I was getting from it.
Yeah, the scene with the president when he's in the back
why
race thing.
Yeah.
Number one, why? But number two, I felt like I was watching Austin Powers at that point.
Well, do you know who his Secretary of State was, right?
I've seen him in other movies.
It's Yakov Smirnov.
Yeah.
They actually call him Secretary Smirnov, and I'm like, really? We have a Secretary of State Smirnov, and we're in the middle of the Cold War. That seemed real dumb. That just seemed real dumb.
Oh.
And it's just, but you're not wrong about that opening. About that, it just, I don't know. I wanted it to be so good, and how many times have we said that on movies? Okay, all right. So hang in there. I want to read this. Just bear with me, guys. I know, Sean's reading great. I know, but all right. Here's the opening scroll. If you're not going to watch the movie, Buckaroo Banzai, born to an American mother and a Japanese father, thus began life as he was destined to live it, going in several directions at once. I don't know what that means, but yeah, what does that mean? Because he has two different races of parentage? Like, that doesn't make sense. A brilliant neurosurgeon, this restless young man grew quickly dissatisfied with a life devoted solely to medicine. He roamed the planet studying martial arts. Okay.
If he's a martial arts expert, he's a really bad martial arts.
He only does one kick in the whole movie, and it's when he kicks Christopher Lloyd in the nuts. That's all he does. And then there's a scene in the hallway where Jeff Goldblum shows up, and he does some like twirling behind the back to shoot the bad guys kind of stuff. And then we never get that again.
Yeah.
Or haven't had it before. And then Jeff Goldblum even went as far as when he shot the bad guy, he blew the smoke off his gun barrel. Like, he even did the, like, oh, come on. Like,
and this was the first movie that I've noticed that the guys shooting the guns kept their fingers on the triggers all the time.
Yeah.
Did that bother you? I know you're kind of a gun guy like that. Yeah. Does that bother you?
A little bit. I mean, they even went so far as to tell him bad gun safety is when he's walking with the gun pointed up, which is what you should do, either up or down, right? If you have friendlies in the area, you want it to be up or down. And the guy says, "Point your gun out." Like, he's like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, that's wrong. That's not right. Like, the boss just went in front of him. So if he has a misfire or if his gun accidentally discharged, you shoot your boss in the back. You know what I'm saying? It was so dumb. All right, so keeping brilliant neurosurgeon, restless young, he roamed the planet studying martial arts and particle physics, collecting around him a most eccentric group of friends, those hard-rocking scientists, the Hong Kong Cavaliers. That's a bad sentence. So, I mean, that's the intro. Well, that's part of the intro. We get a little bit more here. Hold on. And now, with his astonishing jet car, which is actually a truck, ready for a bold...
That doesn't sound like it's running very well.
Yeah,
the timer belt doesn't quite sync up very well.
That F-350 was struggling.
When I saw that in the opening scroll, I thought, okay, he's got a jet car. This is going to be like he'll have a vehicle like Batman or something. He can go around.
Yeah.
And it was used, what, twice?
Well, once actually as a jet car, and then once just to take him to the groceries. I mean, I'm saying like he just get the jet car fueled for normal street speed or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have another vehicle at the compound you can just drive. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
like,
well, Batman doesn't have a VW Bug that he drives around.
well, no.
But he has a
When the Batmobile isn't working.
Right, but his glass also doesn't break when you hit it with a wrench. All right, and now with this astonishing jet car ready for a bold assault on the dimension barrier, Buckaroo Banzai.
So here's the big question, Sean and Andrew. Is this movie so bad it's good? Because that's what we're asking ourselves when you start calling something a cult classic, like this movie's been called. Is it so bad it's good?
I don't know. I'm a fan of some cult films, but this one, no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to watch this one again.
Like, I would only watch this again with you guys.
And drunk.
I mean,
it would take some alcohol to get me to watch this thing again. This was that bad
and maybe
boring. That's the problem. It was just boring.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
right.
And I'm trying to think, are the three of us the target, not the target market here in this? Because we all would make fun of Sam's age, that he's 1,000 years old, but for all intents and purposes, we were all born of the 80s. I know, Sam, you were born in 78.
Yeah.
So the 80s to us is just our elementary age. We don't care about anything, right? We're running around sticking bananas in our ears. So we're children of the 90s. The 90s was our formidable years, what shaped our identities, where we started learning pop culture and things like that.
Some says for you guys maybe. Yeah. I still find myself a child of the 80s.
I mean, and I look at the 80s as a fond time for me, and I have movies and music from the 80s that I love, but like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a movie of my youth, right? Mm-hmm. Like Die Hard was a movie of my adolescence. Even though Die Hard was filmed in '89, I didn't watch it until 90, 91. So anyway, my point is that I'm wondering if I was 10 years older and had seen this movie in the 80s originally, and would I be saying the things that I'm saying about it? And probably not, right?
I don't know. I mean, if I think that we are the target audience. I mean, we're self-proclaimed Trekkies and Star Wars fans and science fiction type people. I mean, Star Crash has been something we watch, for heaven's sakes.
Right. I would rather watch Star Crash than this.
Oh yeah, I would too.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like that's the target audience for this movie is sci-fi lovers.
Right.
I mean, don't you?
I mean, yes and no, I guess, because obviously yes, in that this movie has achieved cult classic, and usually cult classic only refers to nerd culture.
Yeah.
Right? There's no such thing as, no one has ever said Clueless is a cult classic. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no mainstream.
I've heard it for horror films, though.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Horror films, like Troll 2 is a horror film, and it's considered a cult classic, and that's not just for nerd culture. So I guess you're right. But this movie, I think, is
well, Big Trouble in Little China is considered a cult classic.
It is a cult classic, and
I would rather watch that than this.
But I think that movie knew what it was going to be the entire time. I think that movie was always going to be super silly, campy, with some fun action, right, and some bad one-liners. Like John Carpenter knew what he was doing with that. Like, he's like, hey, I already have my Halloween. I've got my legit horror, right? and I've done The Thing, right? Legit horror. Now I'm ready to do some legit camp. You know, I mean, that movie is rife with silliness and camp and all that stuff. And I think, you know, like,
son of a bitch must pay.
I mean, come on.
That's not written in any seriousness.
No, like, and
Or as it should be acted in a serious. Yeah. Whereas this movie, it really took itself seriously.
I think,
to its own detriment.
Yeah, exactly. To its own detriment. That's a great point. Because, like, I'm trying to remember, was RoboCop before or after this? It was after this, right?
Yeah, it was 87.
87. Okay. So, I don't know what Peter Weller did before this, but
He was a waitress.
oh, waitress. That's a weird.
Well, it's Hollywood.
You never know these days. I mean, it is interesting when you click on Peter Weller. He is known for this movie, and well, he actually had done some stuff. He'd done about a handful of things beforehand. Nothing I'd ever heard of. Shoot the Moon, Kentucky Woman, Two Kinds of Love of Unknown Origin. So anyway, but I don't know. Again, with this cast of guys, it made me feel like they were trying to go serious. Now I get you hire Christopher Lloyd to be a weird alien bad guy because he was a comedian before.
Yeah, and John Lithgow is a well-known comedian.
Uh-huh.
So,
and I don't know though. I mean, he played that part comedically.
He did, with his weird alien Russian Italian accent. And I laughed when he talked because I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
And there was other parts of the movie I laughed, like when he's driving his jet truck into the compound, he puts his blinker on. Like, why would they put a blinker on such a car? It just seemed dumb. And like little things like that made me laugh, which we weren't supposed to. And I loved whenever Jeff Goldblum was on screen. I loved every part of what he did.
Yes.
Because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is 10 years before Jurassic Park. Like, you would go on to have one of the great scenes where your chest is all poking out and you're all hot and sweaty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the great gifts of our time.
And here he is in a almost plastic cowboy getup, for kind of no reason whatsoever to be in a plastic cowboy getup.
Right. And like, there's just so many things that don't make sense. Like when they have the press conference of the world press, right, in this weird little dinky conference room, why is Penny up there? Why is Jeff Goldblum? Like, Jeff Goldblum's been a member of the team for 5 minutes, and he's up there. He even he says something that he wasn't supposed to on the microphone. And Penny is up there for some unknown reason. Again, I just got bailed out of jail, so that makes me qualified to sit here next to you.
But yet she's his wife.
She's
like his wife.
She's the twin sister of his ex-wife that
I'm so confused
that
front.
Was adopted.
It still doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Another thing, I was like, if she had a twin sister, how would she not know?
But they were separated at birth, and she was adopted. And they say it in the movie. It's dumb. It's real dumb.
But that's, again, a weird storyline that didn't need to be there.
It didn't matter.
It didn't. Well, I don't even know why it had to. I mean, you can find somebody attractive and not have been married to them. Like, you can.
Did we find out how the wife died? I don't remember if they said it in the movie.
I don't think so.
In the trivia, I read that if there was going to be a sequel, you were going to find out that some like Hanoi Jim or something like that was the reason why she died. And that was going to be the next big bad.
Right.
Hong Kong Phooey.
Yeah. At the end of the movie, they actually have in the credits, stay tuned for the next great adventure. And it was going to be called Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai and the Evil Dead or something. I can't remember what it was. But they were anticipating a sequel. Like they were ready to make a franchise.
The end of the movie. During the end credits.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd had enough cheese in the movie.
Why are they're walking around the aqueduct? Like,
I really felt like that was a scene out of Anchorman.
right? It was so weird.
And I mean, they were like marching in step to the music, and I was kind of impressed by that for a moment. But it was literally, I just kept thinking, I've seen this done in a Will Ferrell movie.
Right.
It's so
They're all dressed like they would be in a Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
including Jeff Goldblum in his
Cowboy outfit. That was so, and they call me New Jersey. Like, why do they call by their cities? And it didn't make any sense.
Call me Scout.
Sure thing, Josh. It's just, I don't know. And like, there's just so many other little things that are introduced. Like, okay, when Rawhide, Clancy Brown, when he dies, like, I know I'm supposed to feel something, but we hadn't been with him long enough for me to care.
Yeah.
No.
And
I thought that's when he was finally going to get out his doctor skills again and like do some weird surgery on the poor guy.
Right. And again, okay, I got to go back to the press conference. So there's two aliens in the audience, right? And then Christopher Lloyd is back behind, right? If the whole point is to get the doctor so that he can build them, or he can use the MacGuffin of the movie, to get them back to their home, why is he wearing pantyhose over his face? Who cares if people know what you look like? What? You're an alien.
And it wasn't. It was mesh, and it was see-through, and it was only covering half of his face.
Yeah,
like,
it only covered his nose and down. Like, I can still see your eyes and hair. It didn't make any sense at all. It's just, there's so much of that in this movie that just didn't make sense. I mean, like,
Yeah. I know.
And more than just the watermelon. Like, I almost feel like that can be a new trope, just the watermelon trope, when you introduce the first part of a joke but don't finish it. Like, that might be called the watermelon. I don't know. Like, did John Lithgow need to electrocute himself just so he can have a flashback? Like, was that the point of the electrocution?
I think, I believe so.
Like,
I believe he had to do it.
He puts it up to his.
We can't just see a flashback. Like,
we have to be
never before in a movie have we just cut to a flashback. I think we could tell by the way that he's not in an insane asylum and that he doesn't have charcoal on his teeth and his hair is all frizzed out, that it might not be the same time.
Right. But I tell you what, he was looking pretty good for a man who looked like he was in his 20s in 1938.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess when you're an alien, you don't age the same way. But even the doctor man looked pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he was, even if he was a young scientist, a brilliant scientist working on that team at 25 years old in 1938. I mean, help me out with the math there, Sam. 38 to 88 is 50.
Yep.
So then you back it up 4 years. So you're talking 46. So he would have been
80 something.
No, if he was 25, right? So we're talking 68, 9 years. So he's about 70 years old. Dude looked good for 70.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And again, that's assuming that he's a young scientist really young, brilliant scientist at 25, which, whatever. Anyway, it's fine. I did write, of course, they're all in a band.
And for being a rock and roll legend, that was kind of a small nightclub.
Shit club, man. It was really bad. I mean, everyone knew his face, right? He could just walk in, like the people that were making out behind the dumpsters at the hotel or whatever, like, hey, that's Buckaroo Banzai. And then he steals a motorcycle. Hey, that's Buckaroo Banzai. Like, everyone knows who he is. And he's playing in this shit little hotel bar. And the manager's like, I don't care who you are, and you're gonna play in my. It's like, come on. The guy has 2 saxophones he's playing at the same time. You need to be doing
That was impressive, by the
You
way.
got to be more big time than that. Come on. Is that possible, Andrew?
Oh yeah, I've actually seen people do it.
Oh my gosh, I have to ask.
I can actually play 2 trumpets at once.
Whoa.
Not well. I can get a couple pitches out.
I can barely play my euphonium well, let alone 2 of them. I guess it's different when it's a big mouthpiece like that, enough real estate. He had his own video game and his own like comic book.
He was a big deal, man.
He was a big deal, but I don't understand why. What made him a big deal? Like, I'm okay with the idea of merging these different worlds of brain surgeon, rock and roll guy, martial artist. Okay, like Doctor Strange did 2 of those, and made a pretty darn good movie.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're out there where there's a band guy that turns into a hero or something like that. I don't know. I'm sure there is. I just don't know.
You might want to see Corny on his favorite movie on that one.
Okay, you're fair. You're right. Scott Pilgrim versus the World is that thing. But
You're welcome, Corny, if you ever listen.
But like it it doesn't. I'm okay with the idea that this guy is perfect. I'm okay with that, and he takes risks, and he's the president calls him on his
When there's trouble.
When there's trouble, you call Buckaroo Banzai. Like, I understand that this is kind of a callback to even like the Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow movie, right? Where Sky Captain is this ace pilot and a great fighter, and the government calls onto him to help save the day when giant robots come and take out the city's generators. Like, I'm okay with that kind of, but that world is fantastic and weird. This is supposed
And awesome.
Yeah, and this is supposed to be just normal, except with little interdimensional travel, and yet only thing he can do is kick Christopher Lloyd in the nuts. I mean, I didn't see why. I don't know. I guess that
was a pretty good kick, though. And
here's my other
I'll give him
problem,
that.
Sam and Andrew.
Okay. Yes.
We have learned from mob movies and old Western movies that the reason why the bad guy, the head bad guy, is the head bad guy is because he's either really smart and the people that work for him fear him because of those smarts because he knows things about them or whatever, or he's scary because he's big and violent and strong and can hurt people. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like usually
or like Daredevil's, what's his name, and is both.
The Kingpin, right, exactly. He's both really smart and ruthless. He can, out talk you in an argument and beat you to death with a car door. Which he does both of those things in that first season. And so whenever I see movies where the bad guy, the head bad guy, is neither.
Yeah.
I'm always how did you get there? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did...
Yeah.
So, and here's kind of where I'm coming from. We've been watching as a family every night or most every night. We watch Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and they're pretty good. We reviewed the movie, and we kind of gave the movie grief, and I think rightfully so.
I didn't like the movie at all.
I think rightfully so. It gets better. There's a lot less of the...
It got better.
Yeah, it got better. There's a lot less of the droids arguing with each other and, have you ever hit a Jedi? No, and then he gets killed. Things like that. Like, there's a lot less of that because we're into season 3, but we're getting into the whole Hutt crime family, and all I can think of is how did those giant slugs become part of the crime family? Like. I'm not threatened by them by physical force, right? And so either they just know stuff, or you know what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand how they became.
So how are they portraying it then? What's the?
Well, the only we see.
What's the reason according to them?
Well, we don't know. It's just a thing, right? They're just.
Oh, okay.
The Hutts are powerful. There's a Hutt clan. So Jabba the Hutt is the only one we see in the theatrical universe. But there are lots of Hutts, and they're part of the Hutt clan. And in order to do anything major, they have to have a meeting. And in the episode we just watched, they have a meeting about one of the brothers that attempted an assassination on Jabba. And so they've decided that it's time for Zero as his name to be taken out, so to speak. So anyway, my point is that in the bad guys in this movie, I mean, Christopher Lloyd was formidable, but Lithgow, first of all, there's like 45 minutes of the movie you don't see him.
Yeah.
So we never really get a chance to fear him because we don't see him for so long. And and because he talks, he's weird and like he's all crazy and dirty, and I'm sure he smells bad. Like I can't take him seriously as a villain. The same reasons why I was saying we can't take Buckaroo Banzai as a hero, because what did he do to show us that he was a hero other than twirl a gun behind his back to shoot somebody, which is really dangerous. He could have shot his ass. I'm just saying. Did you see, Sam? You saw Han Solo movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know when Woody Harrelson's kind of spinning the guns and shooting bad guys?
Yeah.
He kind of does a little thing like that in this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like when he shot the guy, it was... I'm giving other people a frame of reference, kind of what he did. But like Woody Harrelson did it way better. Just saying. And it might have been CG, I don't know, but he did it way better. I actually wish also I had the time and the energy, because I had the idea to make a supercut of this movie every time someone said Buckaroo Banzai. And just it would have been like 40 seconds.
They use those for the previews or the promos.
Yeah.
Because in several promos, you hear them say the title of the film, or at least they used to. I felt like they were just taping so many of these so they could get one good one for the promo, and then they just ended up putting them all in the movie.
Oh.
I actually going to see. I wonder if someone has done this.
Oh, there's got to be.
Don't you think? I'm seeing a bunch of trailers. There's a bunch of trailers. There's a bunch of clips.
Now, okay. Do you guys remember the movies, the Shark Boy, Lava Girl thing?
Yeah.
You know how those were real kitschy? They were really kind of geared towards kids?
Yeah.
I wonder if this was the 80s version of that.
I don't know. I mean, he shot the bird in one scene, and I think they said shit in the first 3 minutes.
I know they said ass at some point as well.
Yeah.
But still, 80s was a different time for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. This would be rated PG-13 today. Back then it was probably G.
Well, it was PG because PG-13 hadn't been invented yet.
Right.
Okay, I'm on YouTube. This is a scary place. Why Buckaroo Banzai is today's most important superhero?
I couldn't buy him as a superhero. Maybe a hero, but not a superhero.
No.
Under his comments, under the posting of this video, it literally says, "So why is there a watermelon?"
That is a valid question.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. Sorry, I'm just looking. I can't get down this rabbit hole right now. Maybe I should. I just can't. I just don't care. I don't think someone did. Someone did a video called "He Made Me Watch Buckaroo Banzai." Apparently, someone did that. Yeah, there's a bunch of other podcasts about this movie, like video podcasts and stuff about this movie. Someone wrote this as required viewing. Ugh. There's a bunch of trailers. Yeah, apparently no one has done this. I wish someone had done this.
Maybe it's your calling, Sean.
Maybe my calling. I guess you're right. I mean, I guess I could do it. I guess I just don't want to. So yeah, I'm Googling it and I can't find it. AlamoDraftHouse.com has it coming up. They're going to be watching it. So anyway,
Do they do a podcast?
No, they don't.
Alamo?
No, they're just doing a viewing of it.
Oh, okay.
Buckaroo Banzai TV series loses Kevin Smith amid MGM lawsuit. Well, this was 2 years ago. Apparently, they were going to try to remake this thing. That would have been interesting. Anyway, my point is that I didn't like this movie. And like when I see things like that, like Kevin Smith was going to possibly like. There's obviously a cult. There's a following for this thing, and I just, for whatever reason, somehow it missed us. And maybe if I watch it a second time, it'll make more sense.
Maybe if you watch it with friends, it's one of these movies where if we sat here and made fun of it while we're watching it, maybe it'd be a heck of a lot more fun.
But it doesn't seem like even just the Googling that I just did, like now while I was looking for
Go blind.
It doesn't seem like that's what this is. This isn't Troll 2 where people get together and laugh, or Rocky Horror Picture Show where people go up and throw toast at the screen. Like this is a revered thing, and I wonder if the three of us kind of panning the movie as we are, if someone listening is actually kind of like disagreeing with us.
I'd like to hear from that person.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see redeeming qualities in this movie. I did not.
I don't either. Like, I don't get it. Like, and maybe because this isn't important of a movie to me like it is to other people. Like I said, if we reviewed The Last Starfighter and you three all said this is a terrible movie, I might get a little defensive because it's one of my, I'm saying it's like one of my movies that I grew up watching, and I might try it, like dig in the sand a little bit harder to defend it. Because it's important to me because of my youth, because it was a movie that I watched over and over and over again when I was 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, because I had this dream that if I kept playing my Nintendo and got really good, then aliens would come down and recruit me to join them.
How'd that go?
I'll let you know. I currently nightly play a World War I video game, so if we go back 100 years in warfare, I might be pretty good.
The only problem, though, is if you go back, you only get one life.
I know, that's the part that kind of sucks, right?
Yeah. I know when I play that same game with you, I go through quite a few.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially the style of the way we play.
Yeah, that's true, too.
My brother-in-law, JP, who's been on the podcast before, he likes to hide in the back and snipe. I mean, he'll go a whole game, he'll get 12, 15 kills and die once. And I'm like, yeah, I got 35 kills but died 32 times because I'm Mr. Charge up front throwing dynamite at people. Anyway, no one cares. But if you do like Battlefield 1, you should check out my YouTube channel where I make super clips or montages of our exploits. Anyway, and if somebody, Sam, would actually play again.
I know, it's been hard, dude. Getting up early it makes it hard because since you guys start at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Last few nights, we're all back to it too, so we're all starting earlier.
Oh,
anyway, okay. I'm still really confused about why the kid has a weapon.
Well, he needs it, obviously.
So, okay. So was the Secretary of Defense, he was a bad guy, right?
I think.
Right? That's the problem. Do we know? Because like he shows up with the van. All right, here's a sequence of events, and this is one of my Hopping Man moments. He shows up with the tour bus and goes to the guard station to distract the guards. You okay?
Yeah.
You good, Andrew? Did your cat attack you?
No, I just happened to slam stuff into my microphone. Sorry.
Okay. So he goes and distracts the guards. Then he goes into the compound and he's walking around like he owns the place with his pistol out. And he's carrying it weird. He was carrying it like a nightstick. It was weird. Like he had his finger in the trigger guard, but he was palming the cylinder where the bullets are kept, and he had the butt of the gun aimed out. You know what I'm saying? Like, like he's gonna shoot his foot off or something. If it was
you're gonna go blind.
Yeah. Well, I guess. So, so then he walks into the torture chamber, and he doesn't care. He's like, "Oh, whatever you guys do on your own time is fine." I was looking for a bomber, and so I thought, well, wait a minute, did he just Are we now to believe that he knew that these bad guys, these aliens, and they had advanced technology, and they were gonna like create a weapon for the American government so that we could take out Russia? Like, are we supposed to infer all that from that phrase? I'm looking for a bomber, and then he finds the MacGuffin doohickey thing in her purse, which for whatever reason the aliens didn't look in her purse. I mean, my God, it's not like
maybe it was under a tampon.
I mean,
There's only certain lines we'll cross.
Yeah.
Even aliens are like, oh, I'm not going in there.
Oh.
So he finds the thing, and then he leaves, and then the kid sees him and just points a gun at him and takes the thing from him. It's like, why would the kid think him a bad guy?
Yeah, it really, that made no sense.
It made no sense. And then they're sitting on a bench, and he's trying to buy the thing back from the kid for a 20. Then the heroes show up. The kid takes the 20, and then the guy just walks away. Like, what? He just walked away. The kid's not going to go, oh, he's with them, by the way. No, he didn't say anything. He just leaves. Was that supposed to set up a sequel?
There's got to be some deleted scenes somewhere.
Well, there are.
And I know that I read trivia that said about these, but about this particular storyline. Because this is just, there's got to be something somewhere that fleshes this out a little bit better than some random. They just wouldn't have kept that in the film.
Just doesn't make sense.
Or maybe I missed something. I don't know. I'm like you though. I felt like there is something else I missed, or there was about this situation that would make more sense.
Like, and this junior Buckaroo Banzai force, like, I'm still just baffled, and I know it's 1984, and we're a kid with a gun, haha, it's fine. Like nowadays, no, but and you're right, but I would not mind a remake of this. The idea of a guy who's so gifted and smart that he uses his talents to help people, and I'm okay with a weird alien thing or something like that. We still make movies like that today that are weird and whatever. Mm-hmm. But just give me a storyline that makes sense and is in linear. Just this thing is all over the map. Like, and then like Christopher Lloyd gets mad at his boss for some reason and screams like screw him for some reason, and then he complains about him, and then Lithgow kills him. Like, oh, there's another trope where the boss bad guy has enough henchmen that he can kill his henchmen, and then the ship at the end is flying around, and I'm like, well, like, again, what was the point? Like, and then how did he know that Banzai was in the pod? He just starts talking to him like he knew he was there. Like, how did he know he was there? Because he snuck on. And then the pod has a gun that's more powerful than anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just so much that just doesn't make sense.
You know what? You know what though? You know what? Maybe they were going after with all this was the imagination of an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old. You know, all the buttons you're pressing, all the things, all the imaginary things that you do. Maybe that's what they were going after.
No.
With it, and to kind of like the Lego Movie, play tending. Having kids play and make the story as it goes along.
Yeah.
Maybe that's kind of what it was going after in this.
Had they went that route and actually used it as from a kid's point of view, it might have been more entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think that.
Or played up the camp. Just play it less straight-laced, maybe. And there were times when it felt like they were about to, but then never did.
Yeah. And you're right. Again, when you have scenes like with the president, and that whole scene was weird, and when Yakov Smirnoff is your freaking Secretary of State, then that tells me, oh, this is a camp movie. And then, but then you have scenes where like, where they're using the technobabble and they're trying to create actual peril. And I'm like, okay, so we're playing serious. You know what I'm saying? And then, the jet car is an F-350 pickup that sounds like shit and uses a blinker. Okay, we're back to camp now. And then, we're back to serious. And then John Lithgow has that weird rousing speech that makes no sense. And so it's like, okay, we're back to camp. Like, the movie cannot freaking make up its mind.
Yeah.
It just can't.
It literally is like there's 4 different directors pulling it in every direction.
Yeah. So, you want some clips? I do have some.
Sure. What'd you grab?
I have a few. Okay. Here's 19 seconds of Jeff Goldblum. I just like the way he talks. I think he's one of my favorite parts of Ragnarok. And so it's just 19.
He's the same character in every movie he's ever been in.
You're not wrong. So this is just 19 seconds of Jeff Goldblum doing Doctor Speak.
See, this is the point where, for me, it started to look like a problem. I mean, I wanted to sacrifice the percentral vein in order to get some exposure. But because of this guy's normal variation, I got excited, and all of a sudden I didn't know whether I was looking at the percentral vein or one of the internal cerebral veins or the vein of Galen or the basilar vein of Rosenthal. So on my own, at this point, I was ready to say, that's it, let's get out.
He didn't take one breath in that whole dialogue. Jeez. This made me laugh.
Holy Toledo!
There you go. Holy Toledo.
Holy Toledo!
There you go. Supposedly,
By the way, what was the fascination with New Jersey?
I don't know. Maybe the director's from there. I don't know. It was weird. Maybe they're like, New York is overplayed. Let's do everything in New Jersey. Well, no, because the director was born in Connecticut, so I guess maybe he lives in. I don't know. This line, supposedly, there's actually some history on this actual line itself, and the movie makes you think that this is the most Zen, Buddha, you're gonna find inner peace. I just rolled my eyes.
No matter where you go, there you are.
What? No matter where you go, there you are.
Well, it's true.
I mean, I guess it's just if you're sitting down, there you go. I don't know. It's just dumb. Here's one of the 1,500 times this was said in the movie.
Hey, wait a minute! You can't ride that! It's Buckaroo Banzai!
With that music, man, wasn't that great?
Oh, you gotta love some 80s synth.
Oh,
I mean,
man, that
it's just so good.
That music was freaking awful. It was terrible. I mean, but I will say this.
Cowboys are trying to get to.
Oh, I didn't mean for that. I will admit, when the music started at the beginning, I felt like I'd heard it before. I'm not gonna lie. I was like,
oh yeah. I'm saying it had some connotations of other soundtracks.
Yeah, this thing came on, and I'm like, I know this film score. I've heard this before, and I wonder if they played a little bit of it in Ready Player One. You ready for some of this?
Okay, let's do it.
I'm just gonna play enough to get kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah, Ready Player One. I betcha.
Yeah, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it again. But at that,
All right, so I mean I think they actually put that in Ready Player One because that sounds familiar. Yeah. I might just go.
And more than likely, they were able to get it pretty cheap in Ready Player One, if I would guess.
Yeah, I would think so. Whoever, I don't know who wrote the score, but yeah, you're probably right. Anyway, was that all my clips? No, I got more clips. Here's John Lithgow. This made me laugh out loud.
Where are we going?
Real soon.
I'm like, oh, okay, we're back to camp. Got it. All right, I'm with you. Oh my gosh. Where are we going? Real soon. Like, why did they all think that that was the thing to say?
When is this podcast done?
Yeah, real soon.
Real soon.
By the way, one of the scenes that they cut was where Jamie Lee Curtis appeared as his mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, Michael Boddicker, Boddicker is the guy what did the music. The gnarly synth stuff. So, anyway,
Are you sure it's not bot liquor?
I hope not. Actually, it would be if you put the comma, you break it in half, it would be Bod Dicker. He is a Bod Dicker. He has done such music department. Let's see. Composer. Composer for this and something called The Magic Egg and The Adventures of Milo and Otis. I'd watch that. The dog movie, the dog and the cat movie.
Yeah.
He's done a whole bunch of stuff as a musician, though. Good gracious, Bionic Woman. I can't even read all this stuff. It's insane. My gosh, he's done. Sorry, give me a second. He's done 276 credits as a musician.
Holy crap!
On film scores. So he's done a bunch of that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, he's got talent. So good for him. This made me laugh.
My goddamn planet. Understand, monkey boy?
Let's get out of here, John O'Connor.
But John Warfin said we could kill her.
Damn John Warfin and the horse he rode in on!
I had to make sure I got some Christopher Lloyd yelling. And
Bobby.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, Jeff Goldblum's like, oh, she died. Like oh, I did everything I could. Oh, okay, we're a serious movie.
Buckaroo, President's on line 1 calling about is everything okay with the alien space cloud from Planet 10, or should he just go ahead and destroy Russia?
Tell him yes on 1 and no on 2.
Which was yes, destroy Russia or number 2?
I'm like, oh, okay, we're back to that again? Okay, got it. Here we go.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
Tropes. I wrote crazy scientists and all microphones cause feedback. And there's about a dozen.
Oh, of course. You didn't know that? Especially when there's really bad sound operators.
That drives me crazy. I did like the gag where the dude said something and the Secretary of Defense got so mad that he just unplugged his microphone. That made me laugh. I'm like, oh, that's one way to do it. Just unplug. I'm sure the sound guy's like, hey, put that back, you a-hole. I'll mute him. It's fine. Some of the dialogue used in the jet car sequence is taken directly from mission control chatter heard during a shuttle launch countdown. That's kind of neat. Okay, here we go. This one's it's a lot of words, but just bear with me. The end of the...
So many words.
Shut up. The end of the movie invites the viewer to watch for the upcoming film Buckaroo Banzai versus the World Crime League. This was the real title for a sequel that Sherwood Studios planned to make if this film had been successful. Unfortunately, it was a bomb and Sherwood Studios went bankrupt. After its release on video and cable, however, this film became a cult favorite in much the way Mad Max had. Legal wrangling due to bankruptcy, this is what I was trying to find earlier, prevented any other studios from picking up the sequel rights, and even many years later, MGM had to fight through a pile of red tape simply to get the okay to re-release it on home video and DVD.
Wow.
I wrote the oscillation overthruster, my MacGuffin device, reappeared as a spectral analyzer on Star Trek The Next Generation. In another Star Trek connection, the quote, "No matter where you go, there you are," appears on the dedication plaque for the USS Excelsior. Also, Peter Weller is one of our Star Trek connections, and Christopher Lloyd is our other.
Mm-hmm.
There might be more, but those are the two big ones. And I didn't do a whole lot of research. I just said, oh, hey, look, both of those guys are in Star Trek. So, and then during the jet car test, the computer screen that has the graphics show 3 different words: signed, sealed, delivered. It actually says that. So there you go. Yeah, again, we're back to that. Okay, got it. Oh, sorry. What the I'm not sure. Well, that was in the playlist. I meant for.
Was that the screaming goat?
No, that was the no. That was Orlando Jones screaming no when they have to do the probe. When they have to go get the alien up his butt. When he's like, lubrication? There's no time for lubrication. There's always time for lubrication. And then they shove the thing up his butt, and that's what he screams. He screams. I forgot I had that in here. Sorry. I meant to play.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
That's what I meant to play. All right. But this is great, man. When I got my computer back, I got all my clips again. I'm just excited.
That's great.
Oh, it's great.
Things are getting better.
There we go. So, wow, that was really high up on the thing. Did we have a?
Did we have a montage?
Number one.
I don't remember one either.
Unless it's the aliens building the ship while he's saying his speech.
I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Top 3, we decided to go with dimensional travel. So I think there's going to be a lot of loose interpretation on what that means, and we'll try to keep the discussion to a minimum. Andrew.
Okay. I have number 3, Inception.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, totally with you there.
Number 2, Ghostbusters. They battle. What's the name?
Yeah, well, isn't he from?
Oh yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man actually technically comes from another dimension.
Yeah,
and so does Gozer, I guess.
Gozer, that's the name of it.
Yeah,
Gozer the Gozerian.
And then number 1, and I love this movie, and I never really thought about it being a dimension, an other dimensional movie until I read something about it, and it made a whole lot of sense. And that's Groundhog Day.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, explain.
And the article that I read was basically every day is a different dimension happening on the same day at the same time.
Interesting.
I guess that would make sense.
Okay.
And then I had an honorable mention of Back to the Future 2 when they come back from the future and it's a different reality. That's why I asked the question about, do other realities count?
Yeah, it's a new timeline. I mean, I don't really care because it's the same. It's the same thinking as how we got the new Star Trek series.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's because they're on a new course of history now, new timeline, which is fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
Sam.
All right, I've got an honorable mention for the movie Timeline.
Okay. Isn't that just time travel though?
If you read the book, you listen carefully. They actually are going from dimension to dimension.
So you're doing books now instead of movies.
No, in the movie as well.
They say it in the movie.
Did
we watch the movie?
To create a time machine, you need another dimensional being to create the exit for you. You create the entrance, they create the exit.
Really?
Yeah, it's so weird like that. My number 3 would be Matrix.
But what if Doc Brown just built a DeLorean?
Well, technically, I mean, you could say he's going to. I mean, they say that there's an infinite amount of dimensions or timelines out there, right? So somewhere along the lines, you've got the same story happening, only 50 years previously.
Isn't that like string theory? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
My number 3 would be Matrix.
Okay. Yep. I'm with you.
That's okay. Good. I'm
totally with you.
Number 2, I've got John dies at the end.
All right. I thought about that movie, but I forgot about that. They had to go and fight a weird farting thing.
My number 1 movie is probably Sean's favorite movie of all time, Interstellar.
I saw that on the list. I still don't get how that's interdimensional. They just go to another galaxy.
The aliens, our future selves, are supposed to be interdimensional beings.
I get the the Tesseract bit. I get that.
Yeah.
That's a different dimension. Yeah, I'm with you there. Okay, well that's fine. It's still not a good movie. I just had to stick that in there.
You man, screw you.
So my honorable mention is breaking the rule. When I say Star Trek, I actually mean the TV series.
What?
From so in the Star Trek universe, there's actually they also prescribe to the multi-dimension, the multiverse, and they accidentally in every series of Star Trek, except I don't think Voyager did it. They accidentally jump over into the other dimension, the other universe, in which the Federation is actually the villains. They're actually bad guys, and they create the Terran Empire and kill. Basically, in that version, the Terrans, humans are racist, and they believe that we humans are the only species worthy of the galaxy, and are hell-bent to destroy any other species in the quadrant.
Doesn't sound very nice.
No, that's what makes it for interesting Trek, because then you can write these characters doing these horrible things, and it doesn't break Gene Roddenberry's vision. So anyway, again, that's like I said, my honorable mention. I wrote down a bunch of these because I just didn't know what you guys would write. Jet Li's The One. There's a lot of there's a multiverse kind of concept happening there.
I think I've never seen that one.
It's a finite matter. It's a good kick flick. It actually, with him and Jason Statham, and Delroy Lindo is in it. It's actually a good movie.
Ooh, the guy that played Lando Calrissian?
No, it's Childish Gambino. Delroy Lindo is. Did you see Gone in 60 Seconds?
Yes, but I didn't pay attention.
No, he's. I was gonna say he's the cop, but whatever. Anyway, I also wrote The Matrix, so I won't use that. Super Mario Brothers. There you go.
There you go.
I did have Flight of the Navigator on here, but I think Sam said no, so that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's Alien. I don't think it's.
Well, it's Alien, but I don't think there's dimensions. I think it is just simple time travel.
Time travel.
I did see someone posted on one of the blogs the movie Source Code, and it's a Jake Gyllenhaal thing, and it's another dimension in only that, and it will spoil the hell of the movie, so I don't want to say it, but Jake Gyllenhaal's point of view, it's not reality. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's more like The Matrix than anything else as a second dimension. Yeah. I don't want to say any more because if you've not seen it, it's actually a pretty fun little flick to go watch. But my number one is Big Hero 6.
Oh, dude. Okay. I would have added that too if I would have remembered.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Right?
It's a great movie.
It is a great movie. I love
What about would Doctor Strange work for that too?
Oh yeah, the mirror dimension and the multiverse and Dormammu.
Yeah.
Did you guys have you seen the How It Should Have Ended for Infinity War?
No.
They did like 6 endings, and like 4 of them, Doctor Strange just completely wins the day. Like the first one is like Thanos walks up, he goes, "Yep, you look more like a Thanos." And he goes, "Maz is dead." He goes, "Yep." And he goes, "Okay, portal." And then he opens up a portal underneath him, and then as he falls, he closes the portal around the gauntlet until the gauntlet just pops off. And he goes, "All right, that was easy."
That would make a lot of sense,
right? So anyway.
Well, I've read a lot of that too, where they had a really hard time with some of these OP characters in the movie and how to handle that. Yeah. And Doctor Strange was certainly one of those.
Yeah, and because again, I know we talked about it last week's episode of this, where I watched the director's commentary, and they wanted to talk about how they talked about specifically they wanted to show off Doctor Strange is significantly more powerful than the last time we saw him, in being what he was able to do. But you're right, just simply a sling ring kind of makes him pretty. if that cuts off body parts when it closes. Like, because they do it in the movie, right? The guy that's in the snow, they send him to Antarctica or whatever, and then he reaches up and they close it and his hand just lops off. Like, oh, you shouldn't have shown us that movie. Because then we're asking, why couldn't have done that with the gauntlet? So, but I guess the idea would be like maybe because he has the Tesseract stone, like that wouldn't work for him, So anyway, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. Doesn't matter. What does matter is we're going to give this
what's supposed to happen?
a score. This is where we do this part of the show where you guys tell me, and of course I participate, in the giving of a score of out of 10. And I'm pretty sure that our numbers are not going to go anywhere near what we did last week. Just
no.
Go ahead, Sam. Sorry, Andrew. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that.
No, it's fine. IMDb gives us somewhere around a 6 something, which was surprising.
Yeah. I get it because, again, fandom, those are the people that are voting.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they're weird. And then, I just, this movie to me, my rule about if it keeps my attention, and I wanted it to keep my attention, but it was jumping around so much. It was like the movie it was like movie Tourette's or, so
you're not wrong.
No, I can't give it a high score. I'm going to say, maybe a 3.5 random watermelons in a press out of 10.
Right. Okay.
And see, doggone it, Andrew took my number. I was going to go for 3.5. I don't know. The clothes she was wearing, which were like rags tied in the middle, I don't understand. And because of that, I'm going to give it a 3.49.
Well, remember, she was poor as hell. She says that. Like, this is her last nickel. Like, she only had enough money to buy the alcohol and apparently the little 22 she was going to use to kill herself with. That no one else saw at the concert.
Oh, they're all watching Buckaroo sing a song.
Right. They're singing a song on the piano. Man, yeah.
Sing a song.
I'm kind of with you guys on the score. I'm just going to give it a 4. Because, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if it deserves a 4. I'm trying to think. Actually, I can't give it a 4. I really can't. It's going to get a 3.95. I know it's weird to drop it that low, but I'm looking back at like I gave Gamer a 4. I think I'd rather watch Gamer than this.
I would watch that movie again any day before I watch this.
Yeah, like The Lightest Darkness, I gave a 5.
Mercy Kill.
So, Escape from New York, 5. Anyway, actually, I'd rather watch Escape from New York than this. I'll watch any John Carpenter camp any day over this thing. Just saying.
Yep. At least it seems like they have fun with their camp.
Yeah, and but
really, the only time this movie felt like it was having fun was the final credit scene.
Well, and the other part that was fun was John Lithgow. Like, there's a scene where John Lithgow is actually he's putting on his helmet when they're getting ready to take off in the ship, and Christopher Lloyd is like just making up lines to say when he's like flicking them off or whatever. He's yelling at him, and Lithgow is literally laughing on screen because he broke character because it was so funny. Like, I kind of feel like John Lithgow, whenever he was on camera, he was just doing whatever he could to make other people laugh. And then, like, when Peter Weller's on screen, it's like he has to make, it's his reel for RoboCop. Anyway, whatever.
Is it just me, or does Peter Weller's look a lot like Scarecrow from Batman Begins?
Yeah, young one, a little bit. I can see that. I just think, like, I feel like he's, like, he looks like he's just always sweaty. I don't know why.
No, you're not wrong.
There's a scene where he's getting tortured. I mean, they must have spritzed him for 5 minutes before that scene. I mean, it was pouring off of him. So anyway, it's fine. That's our show. That's the podcast. That was a lot of fun to talk about that movie. Do I want to watch it again?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Sorry. anyway. So thank you guys for participating in the show and listening and whatever. Go to our GoFundMe page.com/CheapseatReviews. You can leave us $1. That'd be great. We do have an Anchor app, an Anchor podcast. I haven't posted one in over a month. I suck. I'm sorry. In fairness, I have moved, started a new job, and still managed to do this show. So I will do an episode soon on Jumanji.
Yeah, right.
The new Jumanji. I might do it actually when I hang up with you idiots. Leave me a review. Leave us a review iTunes or YouTube. That'd be great. Mainly iTunes. That helps out the best.
It really does, folks. Please.
Yeah, facebook.com/CheapseatReviews. Follow us on Twitter @CheapseatCast. You can follow me at Sean J. Allred, at Sinigi16 is Sam, and at A. Jimison. I still almost did it wrong, Andrew. It's been a long time since I've said it.
About 5 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've said it, but those are Twitter handles. And, of course, you can send us an email to cheapseatreviews@gmail.com, like Diana did a few months ago or a few weeks ago and had us do her movie. So feel free to participate like that. If you have something you want us to do for next week, let's do it. If not,
you can do it.
That's it. And once the music finishes doing its thing, I'll tell you what we're doing next week. But on behalf of Corny, Andrew, and Sam, this is Sean. Thank you for listening, and good night.
Wow. That was quick.
He said.
And next week, we're doing Ex Machina. Ex Machina.
Hey, Ex Machina.
And it's on hey, Ex Machina. Hey. Okay.
Please leave that in the show.
Oh, it will be. Good night.